connected, you'll be fine. But let's say if you're not connected, because I'll ask you a question.
طب هنا
I'll ask you a question. I know you guys might not have the answer to it. I don't know if you do or not, but I'm sure other people might have the answer to it. But name an artist or a creative that. Let's go with artists. Name an artist who had nothing. Talk about Saudi artists who had nothing, came out of nothing, and is in the spotlight.
I don't actually know the backstories of the artists I follow.
Well, that's a big issue that we also have. I agree with you.
Like, I'm sure there's a few, and I'm not sure how big the spotlight is.
And I'm talking about a big spotlight. I'm not talking about a little spotlight. I'm talking about you were told, they showed you an NBC. No, that's not enough for me. I'm talking about you were in governmental projects. You were in X projects. You worked with municipalities.
I see your point.
You put your stuff out there.
Like you've become like a symbol or an icon or a representative of a certain movement, and that movement is actually, in the mainstream. I think that wave hasn't started yet, to be honest. Like, I think the opening up of the Ministry of Culture and the cultural ambitions that Saudi is exhibiting right now is going to kind of allow that to flourish and flower. But in the past, the art scene was not as, let's say, supported as it is now. Or there was not as much importance attached to it. The public wasn't as much as aware of it. Like, even now, the art things that are happening now.
Actually, it was. It just was for a certain demographic. It wasn't for everybody.
Definitely. So it wasn't very, let's say, democratic or very public.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. So that is something that is very likely going to change with time. But for me, that also allows a second question. I mean, we're doing this because we do enjoy doing this, yes. But we're also doing this because we have certain goals that we want to reach. We know people that do podcasts just for the fun of it. And there's, everybody has different goals. Everybody has different ambitions. So the question here comes back to you as an artist. Always, when you're trying to create something, are you trying to create it just for the sake of, satisfying a certain urge inside of you? Or is it trying to exhibit something, or is it experimenting, or is it trying to get to that point of, wanting to become that recognized artist? If you want to get to that point, then you're going to know that you will have to put in sacrifices. It will probably be taking a lot out of your time or your life, your financials, and you might not even succeed. You might end up getting to the point of not being noticed and getting discouraged and saying, you know what, fuck this shit. Why am I even doing this? But if you're doing it for the satisfaction of it, if you're doing it for the joy, for the pure, joy of creation, let's say, then you don't really have anything chasing you, or you don't have that dark cloud on top of your head that's trying to push you into trying to monetize. Because I think that's something that's, as much as it is important today, there is a trend of everybody trying to monetize everything that they enjoy doing, their hobbies, their the things that they're into. And sometimes that's a good thing because the opportunities are definitely out there, and sometimes that's a bad thing because you're supposed to be enjoying these things for their own sake and not for the sake of creating something out of it.
I think everything that you said, I understand where you're going with this, but I think all those are just personal questions to every single person who's doing what they're doing.
Yeah, and this is me putting them out.
This is you asking, hey,
who are you and what do you want to do?
Exactly, and what's your direction?
Yeah.
But even about the monetizing part, let me go back to that for a second, is that you want to monetize off of something that you're good at. Because if you are passionate about doing something, you love doing it, you have to think about it as a business now. How can I monetize? How can I expand my business? How can I be, let's say if you're an artist, how can I be entangled in the art world and have exhibitions and build on and build on and build on, So of course, no, you should always think about monetizing something that you love. If it's just a hobby, you can just do it for yourself. It won't cost you as much either.
No, I'm saying but
you can't tell me a filmmaker is going to do it for the love of filmmaking, just to do it as a hobby. No, if you're buying all this expensive equipment, I'm sure that you want to monetize off what you're doing.
I think a filmmaker is a little bit different in the sense that a filmmaker always wants more and more people to see his films. An artist or a painter or somebody might be doing it for their own satisfaction and is not necessarily as interested in the wider adoption.
I disagree, my guy.
Really?
Everybody wants the shit seen. You can't tell me I'm creating something that I'm passionate about and I'm just doing it for the sake of my walls. No.
True. Even if it's for your walls, you're going to invite people over to, look at my walls. You want recognition.
Yo,
as an artist.
No, we go by.
All the artists.
We agree on that.
I'm not saying all the majority of artists. Every time
majority of people, not just artists. Like
sure, okay, the majority of creatives whenever they post something, okay, let's go with people.
Hmm.
The majority of people, when they post something, there's like a million hashtags under it. Why? Exposure, likes. Look what I'm doing. See what I'm doing.
Hmm.
You want that.
Hmm.
If you don't want that, then you're in here for, for whatever reason. I don't know why you're here.
For the joy of creation. Go back to
The
that.
joy of creation, that's something you can do, but you don't have to. We're talking about people who are investing their time
True.
and their money.
True. And I think the point I wanted to make in regards to monetizing like your hobbies is like you see this now a lot on Instagram. Like people that, you know, are into fitness or into yoga or into nutrition are trying to get into that zone where like, okay, I can provide this as a service and actually have this something that pays my bills. It doesn't have to be my main job. It doesn't have to take over who I am, but it's something that
As long as it's taking time and money
Yeah.
off you, you might as well earn something
find
from
a
it.
way of making something back. Very
Yeah.
true. Very true.